Made Good. I'm Corina, and right next to me is my dear friend Emma, and we're on a mission to stop bad work stories. Work doesn't need to be a place of drama and suffering. It can honestly be a place of joy, collaboration, great energy, and play. So on this podcast, we take everyday, interesting bad, quote unquote, situations, dramatic situations, and apply tried and true strategies and kind strategies to help you work through them. Take what resonates from what Emma and I say and put that in your toolkit and let us know how you get on. So if you're new to our channel, we have quite a large inventory. I think this is about episode 38, so you can go back and find out a topic that you're really interested in and check it out. And we're also, if you're listening to us as you're going for a walk or driving in the car, please be safe. We're also on YouTube. So if you'd like to listen to this and see us and that's, you prefer to do that, check us out. Is there anything else you'd like to add there, Emma, before we kick off?
No, just join us. We're on a mission, so come on board.
We're on a mission. Stop those bad work stories. Cool. All right, Emma, welcome. How are you today?
Oh, I'm all right. It's spring here in New Zealand, so it's kind of like that sinusy or hay fevery season. So if I sound a little more nasally than normal, my Kiwi accent's gone a bit more deep, and I might be deaf as well, something like that. But anyway, I'm good. Other than that, it's feeling warmer here. So, and how about you? How is life treating you at the moment?
It's officially autumn in Europe. And it was like 32 degrees today, so I ain't complaining, no way, right? So enjoying all the blessings and gifts of the sunshine, and feeling very blessed. So
that's good.
Very good.
So what's our bad work story this week?
So our bad work story this week is I thought let's reflect on something I come across a lot with coaching clients, and I'm curious, Emma, if you have this happen to you too, is that this is kind of like this push through mentality, right? This resistance to kind of relax and take breaks, and it's like whether it's back-to-back meetings, working on a project, this like go hard and push through, and people ending up exhausted, grumpy, feeling depressed, and of course en route to burnout. And the thing that's kind of curious to me is with all the wellness and mental health and physical health information around, it's still really, that's what kind of like the bad work story piece of it is, like it's still really hard to break that cycle and do something different given all the knowledge that we have today. Is that something that you're seeing, come up, float up in your work?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what? It's really bizarre, because often people are saying to me, why are we still doing this? It's almost like, yeah, here's your wellness seminar, go and do that. Now get back to it. And it's almost like, there's this two streams of mindset going on in a business. We need to be, HR is saying, we definitely need this wellness. We definitely need all this. So all these tools and resources are becoming available, which is fabulous. And then there is still, but the work has got to be done. And you've got to wear this badge of honor of working hard, being exhausted. And, a lot of my friends are checking out. And I know we may be in an age and stage, but a lot of them are saying, I just can't be bothered with this any longer. I want some life. So it's like parallel universes existing. So, yeah. How are we going to make it good?
How are we going to make it good? Well, here we go. So one thing I was thinking to kick that off would be, it's kind of like we need a completely paradigm shift, right? Because culturally, the belief is that's why like it's so strong, right? Like we've all been brought up on this, time and input-based thinking. You're in the office or at your desk, where you're working from home or in the office for a certain amount of time, and that equals results. Where if you've been a freelancer or a contractor or even working from home, through the past couple of years, we know that can be different. That we can move to more of an output-based, autonomous way of working that frees up, big chunks of time through our day to actually, connect into our whole person, connect into our health, connect into things that bring us joy and bring us energy. But that is it's a mind shift and a physical habit shift that a lot of people
Yeah.
are struggling to make. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, time is the tick 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 clock,
Mm,
working to a time base is really a very old fashioned.
mm.
They used to check in, check
Time
out.
clock, right?
Exactly. Totally, like literally like that. So, we actually can use time in a much more creative and imaginative way. And we can have bands of work. We can have some of us are owls and like to work in the evening, as my darling collaborator Corina is there in the evening. I am a lark. I'm a morning person. I love to be up in the morning. My energy's best for doing a lot of things in the morning. So, we've got to learn to work with what works for us,
Mm,
and then access in, because we will get so much more done when we're working the way that works well for us. So I
mm,
think first is get time on your side,
mm,
understand
mm,
your own rhythms, understand your own energy levels at different times of the day. And then I would say share that with your managers and your teams. If you're a leader and you really want to have work in with your team. When is the best time to have a one-on-one? When is the best time to get together to work
mm,
creatively to solve problems? So I'd say, yeah, use time to your benefit rather than as a master to
mm.
beat you into submission.
Totally. And a couple of things came up when you were saying that. And one was bending time. We have that ability through, what we know about flow science to actually bend time. So,
Yeah,
if you're listening, I'm sure everyone listening can think of, like times when you've kind of, you're doing something and then suddenly you look up and go, wow, where did the time go? You didn't go to the loo, your coffee's cold, the clock has moved, and you think, wow, you know. So, that's an example of microflow or getting into the deep now where you have no sense of time and you've done an incredible amount of work in a very short space of time. So it's kind of like in the facilitation field, we talk about, chronos and kairos and, different forms of time and when the time is right and how time passes. So, but in the old paradigm of work or this traditional one, we're used to linear time, chronological time
yeah,
that going through,
yeah,
and I'm kind of anyone loved the film The Airbender? Well, it's like you can be a time bender,
yeah, yeah, true.
and I think
Yeah,
that responsibility is for us, and I think if people are, and it's hard because if you're waiting for your workplace to do it. Maybe you work in a very innovative workplace, and there'll be a very strong energy around that, which is fantastic to try different things. But I think in a lot of particularly corporate environments, you need to be the innovator of this. You need to take charge of your own, your own energy, your own productivity, your own way of doing this. And if you can make that fun and curious and go on an exploration with your teammates, fantastic. And when you were talking about time as well, Em, I was thinking core time in a team. Lots of listeners might actually be already in that experience where, maybe it's from 10 to 2 where you have core team hours or whatever
yeah,
works for you, where that's when everyone is online or that's when everyone is, it's meeting free time, or that is when you actually have your team meetings or, like you're
totally.
purposeful and respectful of different, there's different, what's the word? There's different purposes for the time
Yeah.
together.
I think that's a great idea, and I think that that interaction time's available. It gives you either side, as I say, to do the deep work and to do the solo work. So I think really having a core time zone for the interaction piece, that's awesome, and to be available in those times. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. subject very close to our hearts, and we've spoken. If you're a regular listener to our channel, you'll know that we do speak about the basics, the physiological basics of energy. We're talking about sleep, we're talking about your nutrition, we're talking about hydration, we're talking about movement, we're talking about social. These being the 5 key pillars, and nature, of course, being another one, like, moving in nature, are just so important for our physical and mental well-being.
Totally. I mean, my mantra is sleep well, eat well, move well, connect well, then you will basically achieve well. So, I mean, it's like that is the equation. It's like, it flows into that. And, those of you who've listened to me know that sleep was my problem. I used to think that, sleeping for 5 hours a night was my superpower. I discovered, thankfully, over COVID that it was actually a bad thing. And it was probably, detrimental to my health, my well-being, my performance, and I've cracked it. And now, I don't say that I am, a completely recovered insomniac. I can have my nights where, I will be awake and my brain can run, but I now have a lot more mechanisms and, understand sleep so much more and how foundational it is to our performance, and just, my general well-being. I know that yesterday I had to push through because I had a bad sleep day, a night before. So I had to manage my energy again and make sure that I was prepared and well organized for a good night's sleep last night, which I had. So, yeah.
I love that mantra. And again, people listening, what it's like when you don't sleep well. Like anyone with young children will know, anyone who has a health issue going on, in the family or yourself, any woman going through menopause right now. You know how the sleep is impacting everything, and it's so thanks for sharing that.
Same if you've got young children in the family and babies, and you know that you're up and down in the night to attend to little ones. It messes with you.
It messes, and then and how we. And I know my one, like your one, was sleep, and mine was definitely sleep through menopause, because before that I thought I was just my superpower was just working all the time, and of course I burnt myself out. But my big one has been movement outside, and I was kind of like I could sit and just power through myself, and originally saw kind of movement as a bit of a weakness, like you have to take a break. No, you don't have to take a break. I could power through. But of course, that was completely old thinking, and my own experience, now is, the stronger I am, the fitter I am, the more connected to nature, the more I have the breaks and deliberate breaks in my day, the better and sharper my mind is, my emotional regulation, my kindness to myself, in the head as well as to others. I mean, everything flows, and it's fun, So, and we know from the science, around, people are into flow and high performance. If you remember, or if you're curious, the flow cycle. And in the flow cycle, so being in flow is not, in or out of the zone. Flow cycle is a 4-step process, of which one of them is called release, which means you have to let go. We're working on something, we're getting into it, it's getting a bit frustrating, we're diving in, we're doing it. And then either we give up or we get distracted, or we need just to take a break and move into movement, move into a release. The famous story is Einstein, paddling out. Apparently he used to row. He used to love to row. So that's rhythmic, rowing, quite meditative, into the middle of Lake Geneva, and apparently he couldn't swim, right? So the lifeguards used to be on high alert when
pretty brave.
It's Professor Einstein in the middle of the lake.
He's out.
And there's loads of beautiful stories around, like, big writers used to, you go home, take a shower. I mean, we, this, right?
I mean, I do it. Like, I know that if I'm sitting at my desk or sitting at my computer and suddenly I'm stuck, that the first thing I need to do is actually get outside, and go for a walk. And it's the same with teams. Like, often when a team is and in an office space, take a walking meeting. Grab everyone and go, or grab the people who you're working with. If you're in a meeting
Yeah.
and things seem a bit in deadlock, go, hey guys, let's move, and stand up and walk outside. It doesn't matter. Go around the block. Go around the block. And you would be surprised. A 5-minute break with some movement in it will actually clear things up, and you'll have a different perspective, guaranteed.
I mean, in our facilitation, John, we talk about shifting levels. Both Emma and I are trained in the Zenergy approach to facilitation, and we call this shifting levels. And this is, like, it might not be your cup of tea, but it's like energizers. Dancing, movement, bringing that energy in, new energy replacing old.
Celebration, celebration cracks the energy as well. We've talked a bit about this, but again, any mini milestone, even if you have a breakthrough, right? We talked about it, every sort of micro moment to celebrate, to go, wow, something just happened. Woo! Let's let that energy out. Let's do a high five. Let's, dance. Let's jump for joy.
A stretch, like I'm doing right now. It's like moving the body and connecting in. The head has its use, but it is also really helpful to spend, just actually get into our bodies, and hence the, we talk about embodied coaching or embodied movement. We want to connect in to the different, intelligences in our body, right? Which is not all in here. The heart, super strong, loads of information and intelligence here, and of course in our gut, right? But if we're sitting the whole time and just pushing through, and you may, like, people might have heard, or this, this little not a particularly positive mantra, but it's an interesting mantra, which is sitting is the new smoking. And it's like, what do you mean by that? Well, this is even from the Mayo Clinic, right? So sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day, right, powering through, is equivalent to the risk of smoking a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Now, no, right? So you've got to get up. So their thing is every 5 minutes. The recommendation from the professors there is every 5 minutes you need to get up and move. And of course,
we've been sitting for too long, haven't we?
Exactly.
Just now.
Well, right now it's like, so I'm standing, I'm at a standing desk, and
I'm stretching. I am sitting, and I have been sitting for more than 5 minutes now. But I got to stretch now just to get some energy and some blood flowing. So
and like all of that good stuff, coming through. So so if we, I'm thinking, like, getting back to where we started,
Well, I just wanted to talk about connection. I wanted to talk about social as part of that, because, it's again, one of my favorites. Sorry, just before we get back to the beginning, let's end on social connection, because that's a big thing for me. And, working from home predominantly, I do get isolated. I'm a very social person. I do get stuck. So I have a ritual of my coffee shop and my coffee shop people. And it doesn't matter. They're new every day. It's also a joy because my daughter runs the coffee business. So I get to see her. But I bump into different people. I have different conversations, different ideas, flow. I always feel energized. And to be honest, I really think that a lot of our working from home now, our hybrid working, the isolation is huge for many people. I think a lot of people, through the whole COVID thing, have either got stuck and they're slowly reworking connection. And although online connection is good, don't get me wrong, I did want to say that it's now been 4 years since I've seen Corina in person. Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, I know I know this anniversary because it's actually the anniversary of my father-in-law dying, and we were
Oh,
together
good.
in the UK
Mm,
when my father-in-law died, and that
mm,
the anniversary was over the weekend.
mm,
So, Karina and I have not seen each other for 4 years in person, and this has been our window into interaction, and we've managed to develop and create together. But the last thing, so you can make connections online, but
mm,
also human in-person connections are valuable and important to all of us.
mm,
So you do need to remember that you'll get endorphins, and your whole dopamine system will be lit up. A smile, seeing someone, even just on a walk, smiling at
mm,
someone as you're walking by,
mm.
you would be amazed at how that will boost your energy levels. And again, the neuroscience behind it just says a smile is worth $1 million. So
Totally.
don't forget,
Totally.
don't forget your social connection.
And I feel my oxytocin is peaking as I'm just like connecting in here with Emma. It's beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, I mean, I think coming back to where we started is we have all this knowledge. So I want to kind of leave with a question for people listening, which is what is stopping you? If this if
Yeah.
this story resonates with you or someone that's close to you, be it at work or at home environment, like what is stopping them? Because you know there's something serving them at the moment, right? So if you truly want to change up your situation, what is something small that someone could start and lead by example? If you have an opportunity to have walking calls or, say, hey, look, I know we normally have a Zoom call or a Teams meet now. How about, I would love to walk my dog. How about we, put our earplugs in and AirPods and go for a walk? And people are like, oh, that's a really interesting idea. And seriously, if you don't need graphics, you can take your phone and do some notes if you need, on your walk, like go to the coffee shop and hey, have a virtual coffee together, but do that movement. And when I do that, I tend to, like I might do video on WhatsApp and say, hey, here's Rocky. There's Rocky, by the way. Here's where I'm at. Here's the park or the street. I'm just leaving my house. Here's Rocky, and then we chit chat and then say goodbye and then plug in. So it's like do your check in visually and get that connection, that oxytocin, serotonin rising, and then you can, go into your. But it's down to you. It's like no one's going to change the situation unless you talking to you, decide.
Yes, you have permission. We're just giving you permission. There's no reason. You don't need to ask anybody else. Just do it.
Just do it,
This is
right?
totally,
And
totally, totally in your hands.
and what's one small thing you can do that, and just go. This is N=1 experimentation. Like, oh, that felt
Yeah.
good. Maybe I'll do something different. You know.
Yeah, and and to use James Clear, the Atomic Habits guys,
Mm,
the big changes start with small steps. He does not talk about
that's true.
radical change. He says do small things, do one small thing today, and then another, and that's how habit changes.
Yeah,
So small things make a big difference. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
do it,
and
do
my
something.
my kind of last sign up would be, your energy is your. It's kind of like I want to say like your passport kind of thing. It's like your energy is your identity, and could you
Yeah,
bring more of that? And that is the piece that really connects us as human beings. And so, what can you do today to up that energy, and like all the benefits that come from that? So step outside the
fantastic.
comfort zone, choose something, let us know how you get on. And of course, if you want one on one with Emma or I, this is what we do, this is what we love, reach out. We're here to serve. So, yeah. So, on that
Oh,
note,
well, that's a bad work story made good.
absolutely. Bye
Until
for
next
now.
time. Bye.
Bye.